Come close. Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone called you a conspiracy theorist and instead of defending the evidence, you ended up defending yourself? It's not an accident. That's architecture. Today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most effective weapons ever deployed against critical thinking in this country. Not a gun, not a law, a phrase. Two words that have done more to protect powerful people from accountability than almost anything else in modern history. Conspiracy theorists. Now, most people think that label just emerged organically. Like the culture just decided that people who ask too many questions are crazy. It's not what happened. 1967. The Warren Commission had just released its findings on the Kennedy assassination. And researchers, journalists, and ordinary citizens are poking holes in it. Real holes. Documented holes. The CIA had a problem. So they issued an internal communique, dispatch 1035-960, to their assets embedded in media organizations. And in that document, they explicitly instructed those assets to deploy the phrase conspiracy theorist against anyone challenging the official narrative. Not to refute the argument, not to address the evidence, to label the person asking. That document has been declassified. You can pull it. I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you to go look. Because when you do, you realize this wasn't a cultural accident. This was a rollout. So let's talk about how the weapon actually works. Because it's elegant in a very dark way. When you call someone a conspiracy theorist, you accomplish four things simultaneously. One, you don't have to engage the argument at all. You skip the evidence entirely. Two, you attack the credibility of the person, not the claim. It's an ad hominem wrapped in a clinical sounding label. Three, you signal to everyone around that person that associating with that question carries a social cost. You're not just discrediting the individual. You quarantine the idea in its entirety. And four, and this is the most powerful part, you force the person to change the subject. Now they're not asking, why was this facility unsecured? They're asking, do you think I'm crazy? The conversation has been successfully hijacked. Linguists call it a thought-terminating cliche. The analytical process stops. People don't evaluate the argument anymore. They evaluate the social risk of being seen near it. It's not a side effect. That's the point. Now, I've talked about this book before in conversations, even on this channel. And I'll keep coming back to it because Bradbury was operating on a frequency that most people still haven't tuned into. Fahrenheit 451 is not a story about burning books, the temperature at which books burn. It's a story about a society that made wanting to read socially unacceptable before the books ever needed burning. Think about that. You don't need censorship if you have social pressure. You don't need to suppress information if you can make it, the act of seeking it, embarrassing enough that people self-censor before they can even open their mouths. The conspiracy theorist label is that mechanism in real time. It's the social temperature that Bradbury was describing, the heat that makes people put the book down before anyone has to take it away. And here's what makes it so effective in the digital age. It doesn't need the CIA to deploy it anymore. The culture does it automatically. Regular people police each other. You post a question, someone drops the label, and the entire comment section shifts from engaging the question to debating your sanity. Bradbury saw it coming. He just didn't know what they called it. Let me ground this in the present, because this isn't ancient history. Right now, today, people are being called conspiracy theorists for asking things like, why was a repeatedly warned facility left unsecured? Why is a convicted terrorist not under active monitoring? Why does the president misidentify weapons in the middle of an active military engagement? Why does major legislation move quietly during periods of maximum public distraction? Why do both attackers in high-profile incidents end up dead before anyone can question them? Those are not fringe questions. Those are journalism questions. Those are the questions that functioning press corps asks reflexively. Those are Woodward and Bernstein questions. Those are the questions that used to win Pulitzer Prizes. The label exists specifically to make those questions socially expensive to ask out loud. And it's working. Because I can guarantee that some of you watching this right now have questions you haven't posted, questions you've thought about but kept to yourself because you didn't want the label. That silence, that's the win. That's what the weapon is designed to produce. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. Next time someone hits you with that label, conspiracy theorist, I want you to recognize exactly what happened. They did not counter your argument. They did not present contradicting evidence. They changed the subject from what you said to who you are. That is a tell, every single time. Because people with real answers don't need to discredit the person asking the question. They just answer it. The label exists because some questions, if enough people keep asking them out loud, become impossible to ignore. So they named it, so you'd stop asking. This is Keith, and Keith Speaks. Watch the pattern. Use your voice, and in doing so, ask better questions.